Welcome to the Unstoppable Real Estate Agents Podcast. I'm your host and real estate productivity expert, Kim Hughes. Join me as we focus on real strategies and implement real solutions designed for you to achieve major success in your business and life while getting you organized. Hi everybody. Today we are going to offer you 9 tips on how to boost productivity and efficiency in your business. This is all about spring cleaning your way to success. So we all know that when we think about spring cleaning, we think of cleaning the home, organizing the cabinets, cleaning out closets, the garage, getting all our gardening tools ready for the year, for the season, and all the things that do with home. But let's rethink that and talk about how we can spring clean your business. So with this, you will refresh and revitalize the operations of your business, and it's always a good time to review your goals, access your finances, and declutter your workspace. Now, I know that 3 months ago we were talking about goal setting for the year. Now what we're doing is doing some spring cleaning. Let's see what we've done in those last 3 months, okay? So let's first talk about your team. So if you are a single agent, then you need to kind of maybe hold yourself accountable for what you're doing. If you have a real estate business manager that's helping you, this is a good time for y'all to have a conversation on the task and what all are they doing to help you with your operations. But if you have a team, then now is the time to do an evaluation of what everybody's role is on the team and see how things are going. What's that performance level looking like? Do we need to make any necessary changes to improve the productivity or the efficiency? So this is a good time to maybe sit down and just kind of brainstorm through each person on your team and see what value they bring on a scale of 1 to 10. How are they doing? Have a conversation. Are y'all happy? What would you like to see as your role on the team? So it's a two-way conversation. Don't ever think it's a one-way, because you want your team to be just as happy doing what they do, so they give you that 150% of investment, return of investment. Okay, so I want you to kind of start thinking about your team. If you're a single agent, you're going to start thinking about who's helping you. How are they doing? What roles do they play? What do we need to kind of tweak a little bit on that? If you're doing everything on your own, then you really should pay attention to this podcast, because this is going to help you get organized in not just your workspace, but in your system, in your processes, and your strategies. So let's kind of take a little accounting of what this does include. Okay, so spring cleaning your business is something that you may want to sit down and organize all the physical clutter. Okay, so if you work from home, you probably have a designated area. You probably want to sit down and kind of take an accounting of what all is going on in that workspace and what can you do to make it better, make it more efficient, make it more organized, so that you're not always looking for something or thinking, oh, I thought I had it here, but now I don't remember. I don't have time to look for this, etc. So I want you to really kind of focus on that, and then take an accounting, not just of the physical clutter, but I also want you to review and refresh your business plan. That's something that you probably don't look at every year. You probably did one when you first started in the business, and you probably haven't looked at it again. Let's pull that out, sit down, go through it, and see what you are doing that's in that business plan and what you're not doing in the business plan and why. If you're not doing something, is it because it just doesn't apply? Is it something that's just not for you? Is it something that you just don't enjoy doing? And make a note of that, of why you're not doing it, because as you do that, at the end of reviewing that business plan, you'll have a better idea of, well, why did I put that in there? How can I get that done? Who's going to help me get that done? And what's that timeline? Okay, so that business plan needs to be pulled out, and you should probably look at that every quarter. And if you're not looking at it every quarter, at least once a year. Okay. That's going to help you stay focused and motivated. Okay. Then I want you to kind of take a couple of hours and focus on areas that you can improve. So what kind of efficiency do you have? How can you increase the productivity? Set aside some ideas, maybe some new goals that didn't maybe apply at the beginning of the year that you can look at and say, you know what, now that I've set on these goals for 3 months, I'm going to tweak them. And then I may remove them. I may put new ones down, but make sure that whatever you're doing on your goals is that it's something that's realistic. Just because Nancy Realtor over here said she was doing it doesn't mean you need to do it. You need to focus on what you need to take your business to a whole new level. Okay. You can listen to what everybody's telling you that they are doing, and then you can pull from their ideas of what's going to work for you. And then as you go forward, you would tweak that to get it down into a good system. And if you're not really good at that, then you need to bring somebody onto your team that can help you organize, implement, manage it, and create it, and make sure that it's all getting done. Okay. Then some of the ways that you can organize your business systems would be, start identifying the processes that are critical to the operations of your business. I mean, you are an entrepreneur. You own your own business, so you're responsible for how the operations work, okay? And if you struggle again, talk to other agents in their office, ask them what they're doing. Maybe your broker can give you some tips. If you have a business coach, they could probably help you with this. Your real estate business manager could even help you with this. So keep those in mind, that you're not on your own when you address these spring cleaning issues. There's always a network of people that you can reach out to. If you're not good in one area, find somebody that's really good in that area and have them help you. Okay. So don't ever say, oh, I don't do that. That's just not my thing. If I tell you I'm not good at math, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn math, and then I'm also going to find somebody that's better at it than I am to manage it, to manage the finances and anything to do with the numbers, etc. Because that person, they get excited about that, where that does not excite me. What I get excited about is creating, marketing. I love systems and all of that. I don't like numbers. Don't look at numbers. So kind of keep that in mind. What do you enjoy? What do you get excited about? What you don't, and what you don't, then you need to bring somebody on board that's going to help you do that. All right. And then, but now here we are entering a new quarter. So this is crucial. You hear me talk about this all the time. So when you are looking at your business systems, I want you to look at and write down everything that you have to do on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, and then yearly. You've heard me say this before. It is crucial that you know what needs to be done in your business and when. Okay? And once you've identified that, then you can sit down and create those systems that you can, put into play. So checking your bank account every day, probably don't need to do that, but once a week you do. So that should go on your weekly. Cleaning out your car, that's a weekly, unless something's happened within that week and you got to get to the car wash and get it cleaned out. But you see what I'm saying? So, your newsletter goes out monthly. Your quarterly stats should go out. Your yearly stats should go out. So you kind of sit down and work it all out. How many times do you blog? Is it weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly? Do you blog at all? If you're not blogging, you need to write that down so that you get some kind of a system in place of what you are going to do with your blogging, because that's crucial to your business as well. And then there's some other things that you can put in here. So let's talk about some programs. So you can use a project management program. You can use a customer relationship program. That's called a CRM. For those that don't know that, a project management software is a PMS, so that if you see these initials, you can identify what they are. And then you need some type of accounting software so that you can streamline your processes that will help you increase your efficiency. So something like QuickBooks would be good for you. There's several others, but QuickBooks is pretty much the standard that everybody uses. So kind of look at that. It's really not that expensive. And then make it a priority to review it every quarter to see what is working and what isn't, to help you ensure that you maintain an effective and efficient business. Now, what I want you to do, if you're not in a place where you're going to be in, a car accident or something like that, but I really would like for you to sit down as soon as you can and just take a sheet of paper and write daily, and then drop down a little bit and write weekly, drop down a little bit, monthly, yearly, etc. And then I want you to start penciling in what should you be doing daily, what should you be doing weekly. And then that way you can take that and put it on your phone. If you have a smartphone that has a reminder, set that up. If it's on your calendar, give it the red bell, that kind of thing, so that you make that a priority. And once you see that you have to do that, so I'll give you an example. So about the 1st of March, I start a file and I start putting things in that file that I need to review at the end of that month for this past quarter. And then I have a folder that says forward, and in the forward folder is things that I want to accomplish in the next quarter. So you can do this so easy, just get a notebook, if nothing else, and put it in there on what you need to evaluate, when you need to evaluate it, and what it cost, etc. And then that way, when you are looking in February, at March, you know what's going on. You know what you have to do for April. You're not winging it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And because that's not good for you, it's not good for anybody around you, it's not good for your business to just wing it. It's very frustrating. So you don't get everything done. You're not 100%. So, just take the time to sit down and say to yourself, well, I am a business owner and I own my own business. So therefore, the success of my business depends on me. And what do you need to do to be successful? Period. It's not just going out and nurturing clients and, chasing leads and all of that. This is how do you run the back office of your business. Okay. So there's some other programs that you can use, but any program that I'm going to recommend, I'm going to ask you to make sure that there's an app as well as a laptop version, because if you're out at an inspection and you're sitting there for 2 hours with nothing to do, you could be working on your project management. You can be putting all your tasks in. You can be checking off things. You could be working on that. You could be adding clients into your CRM system. You could be working on your QuickBooks, and I'm just using QuickBooks as a terminology for accounting. And so be productive with that free time. That you're sitting there idle. These are things that you can do, but only make sure that they come with an app, so that if it's on your laptop and you left it at home and you're sitting at an inspection and you have a couple of hours, you can't do anything because you don't have the app. Okay. So keep that in mind. So some of those things that I use for project management, I use Trello, love Trello. I have used Asana, like Asana, but you have to work with what works for your brain. And Asana, even though it's a great platform, and I have a lot of business owners that I talk with that use that program, I'm a Trello girl. I think it works great. It's free. I have it on my phone. I have it on my laptop. My team has access to it. Everybody that's in my company can access Trello. They may not access everything because some things are private, some things are not. So think about that as you're looking at programs. Does it offer a free version, and does that free version work for you? And if you ever want to upgrade, what is that price? Because sometimes there could be a huge hike in price. And a free trial, if you're going to do a free trial, make sure you put a reminder on your smartphone or your calendar to remind you to check the free trial. Because if it gives you a 7-day free trial, on day 6, you need to go in there and either decide, do I not use it, or do I use it and go forward and pay what they're asking? And that way you're not just paying for something you're not using and you forget about it, and then you're spending all this money on something you're not even looking at. Okay. Everybody does that. It's kind of one of those things. There's so many things that you can do now, and automatic payment, that sometimes you don't know what you're paying for. So one of the things that I do every month, my husband, he handles all the finances. He's the CFO of Kim Hughes and Company, and he will print out a bank statement and my credit card statement, and he will highlight anything that's unusual, and he'll give it to me for me to answer. So that way we save time not having to sit down and talk about it every month. So if there's a charge on there that we don't recognize, we contact the bank. If there's a charge on there for $50 that's unusual, he will highlight it, and then I'll just say, purchased a program or something like that. And then he'd know how to organize it, so at the end of the year we have it for the CPA. So it's a little bit more detailed than that, but you kind of get the idea of the flow of how it works, because I don't like to work with finances. My husband loves it. He runs everything. He's been doing it for years, and he keeps everything to the penny. He holds me accountable. Doesn't mean we always agree, but we do. He does hold me accountable, and that is what I do need. And so that works out really well, and he's always got my back. If there's something coming through that he's not sure of, he'll always highlight it so that he can show me in case somebody got a hold of our credit card and compromised it. So that was a little more than what I wanted to share, but now that I've done that, you kind of get an idea of, you can find people to help you. And then, so we talked about like project management systems, and that's where I said Trello, Asana. But now let's talk about file organization. So I'm going to always recommend that you keep it, if you keep it on your computer, your laptop, make sure that it backs up somewhere. Okay. You always want everything on your computer backed up in case something happens to it. So, this is the cloud storage. So some of the things that you might use would be Google Workspace, Google Drive, Google Docs, Gmail, etc. Dropbox is a really good program. And then there's OneDrive. Now, I know there's others, but these are the three that I could think of right off the top of my head, because I do use Google Workspace and I also use Dropbox. Again, make sure that you can access them by your laptop as well as your smartphone. Okay, so now let's talk about the workflow. So I want you to develop an efficient workflow process. This includes the automation tools that we've talked about when possible. By implementing the tools, you're bringing so much value to your business, and you're freeing up so much of your brain space as well as your time. So something that I heard about recently is called Tallyfly, Tallyfly. Now this tool, it integrates with Gmail, Outlook, Slack, and so many others. So you just need to look at the program and see if it's something that you would like to implement. But it automates all of your workflow, your forms, your tasks, etc. So take a look at it. See if that's something that would work for you. I do believe that there is like a trial version. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure of the cost or anything. And by the way, when I'm recommending a program, I make nothing from it. There's no affiliate fees. There's no sponsorship or anything. These are programs that I have used either in my business or with my clients. And then if it works, I'm going to tell you about it. But if it doesn't work, I may tell you about it as well, so that you can kind of take that testimonial in mind, okay, when you're looking at something. And it may not work for you, but it may be great for Nancy Realtor down the road, okay? So then I want you to regularly review and evaluate all of your online organization strategies. I want you to identify the areas for improvement, or if you have a real estate business manager, this is the person that will keep your business tools and systems running smoothly so that your operations just move forward without a hitch. And that allows you, again, to focus on nurturing your clients and growing your business, right? And which is what it's all about. Some areas you do not need to put your time into, but you need to make sure that the person that's managing that for you, they have your best interest. They know what they're doing, they know how to do it, and they have your back on it. So that way you get 150% of a team member helping you. They need to be wanting to help you succeed. And there are so many people that can help you. It may not be one person, it could be a variety of people. But if you have a real estate business manager, then that person will have a network of people that they can tap into. If they can't do it, they know who to contact. And that's my network. I mean, if I don't even know how to do something, like the other day, I was wanting to find out about all the new Google or G4, what it used to be is Google Analytics. And I needed somebody that had a little bit more in-depth knowledge than me, because I hadn't had time to really dive in and figure this out. So I reached out to my website manager, and she introduced me to like 3 or 4 people. Never heard of them. And so now I'm in the interviewing process, because not only do I have to do that for my business, I have to do that for all my clients' websites that we manage. So having a network of people that specialize in certain areas is a win-win. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're building your database. And then when it comes to your social media, your calendar, okay, so these are just some tips that I came up with for you to think about if you're not already doing a social media calendar. So I want you to plan ahead. I want you to set up your content calendar that outlines what you want to post and when you want to post it. So every day, every other day, what is your strategy with social media? And you need to put that on the calendar. This will help you stay consistent, and it will help you avoid last minute scrambling and then not meeting the deadline, okay? Because one thing about social media is consistency. Everything is about consistency, but right now we're talking social. So keep that in mind, that it's nothing different. You just need to sit down. And usually I like to see my clients, if they're doing their own social media, to plan at least a month in advance. It can be hard to do, but you've got to do it. And you've got to do the weekend events. You've got to do all the other things that you're doing that's promoting your social platforms. You've got to reach out to people. So you might say, on your calendar, you have a post, but then what else are you going to do? Do you need to look at your analytics? Do you need to connect with 5 people? There's just so many things that need to be done on the back end of social media. So you need to have not only a checklist of what to do, but you also need to create that social media calendar so that you can look at it and work from that and not have to really think really hard about it. Okay. Again, I'm going to say use a scheduling tool. There's Hootsuite, there's Buffer, there's another one called Later. All of these can help you schedule posts in advance so that you don't have to worry about, posting in real time. But Facebook has a scheduling system. So if you don't want to pay for a third party, look at the social media platforms and see what they offer as a scheduler, okay? And then see if that's going to work for you. And then the other thing when it comes to the social media is, just a side note, just keep your content fresh, mix it up. Don't use the same content over and over. This means like mixing up your posts, your photos, your videos, links, any relevant articles that you find, or promoting your own personal blog post. Those all need to be on the calendar. So if you blog every Thursday, then that should be what you're putting on your blog. And then making sure that you're linking everything to the website, your website. So what you're doing here is you're putting it on social media with a link to your website, and then when the search engines see that link, they're giving you extra, a little golf clap, should we say, that because you're giving your website inbound linking, which helps the SEO. So everything is a win-win if you do it the correct way and in the order that it needs to be done. So just make sure that when you're posting to social media, what are you posting? Where does it go? And what kind of feedback are you getting? Okay. And then we're going to kind of switch gears now and go back to the inside of your business. So client onboarding. A lot of agents don't have a system in place for this. And it's very interesting because when you have, let's just say you have a lead that found you from social media and they reach out to you, okay, that let's say they're a buyer. What is it that you're going to send them immediately that they can make a connection with you? That is going to be your welcome kit or your welcome package. So you need to have a package of things that you want that person that's never met you know about you and about how you work. This doesn't mean, it's not like your buyer package or your listing presentation, but it could be some things you pull from that to create that client package, that new client package that you can send them. And then what is your onboarding process? So make that checklist and make sure you tweak that at about every quarter would probably work. But when you bring on a new client, what do you do with them? You put them in your CRM system. You're sending them your welcome kit. You're sending them, other information. They may say, hey, I'm looking at Hickory Creek. I can afford a $500,000 home. Can you send me those listings? Absolutely. So now you got to go in the MLS and get them scheduled. There's just so many moving parts when you bring on a new client. So you need to have a checklist. You need to know what you're doing with that new client, whether they're a buyer, seller, investor, renter that's getting ready to buy. What is all that about? New home development, what is all that? So you need to really sit down and think about your welcome kit and your checklist to onboard a new client. And then tweak that about every 3 months because everything changes so quickly now. And in that, and I'll just throw you a little bonus tip, in the new client package, welcome kit, whatever you want to call it, make sure you have one page dedicated to all your social media platforms and the link to your profile so they can connect with you immediately. Okay. And then, if you're kind of going, I don't have that kit. I don't know what that means. Just reach out, schedule a call with me. We'll go over what you need to do with it. Okay. Because a lot of agents don't have this. So it's one of those things where it's kind of been like, why don't they have this? Like if you become a client of mine, the first thing you're going to get is my new client package. And it's got everything about Kim Hughes and Company, everything you need to know. Okay. So it's really kind of interesting. So if you start doing that, I think that will show you're professional, you know what you're doing, and it gives that person on the other end of the phone call or the DM or the text some information about who you are and what they can expect from you. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the website. So, a lot of agents, you may have a custom website. You may have a rented website or what we call a leased site. And that could be a lease site is somebody like if you're with Boomtown or Real Geeks, iHouse Web, etc. So who's your contact? If you are using a leased website, who is your contact if you want to do something on that website? Or are you the one responsible for updating your own website? Okay. Again, you need a checklist. And, if you need some more information on your website, then we'll put the link in my show notes. That'll be on my website, kimhughes.com. And you will find that episode 20, it was released on the February 9th of 2023. And you can go back and listen to that because that gives you some really in-depth information about what your website should have and how it's positioned and the content and all the things that go with it. So, the thing that you have to keep in mind with your website is that is your online business card, and it is very important because this is where you're going to make a first impression. I know a lot of people disagree, but, you do need a website, period. I don't care who you use, but if you're going to use a platform, make sure that they can accommodate you. Okay. Usually there's a setup fee, then there's a monthly cost. And then they probably charge you, some of them charge you to make updates to the website, etc. But again, this is where your real estate online business manager can help you. So she would be the person that works with the website company based on what y'all have decided to do with the website. So some of the things that you want to look at when you're in the website is check for broken links. Vital, because links change and then they get broken, and there's nothing more frustrating than going to a website, clicking on a link, and it go nowhere. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. So make sure you do that at least on a quarterly basis. Look at your community information. What needs to be updated? Is the link to your newsletter on there? What does your SEO look like? What kind of testimonials? Do you need to add more? Do you have information on there for buyers, sellers, investors, renters, etc.? What awards have you received? Get those on there. That should be on your about page. A lot of people, the normal buyer and seller may not know what those awards mean, so you might need to explain what the abbreviation is and why it's so important to have that, award or that designation. So I think that's very important, and that's probably something that you could put in your welcome package too. Make sure you have your Facebook and your Google codes on your website. Make sure your bio is updated, your brokerage is updated, your contact information is updated. I recently had an experience with this where I've been in business, 24 years this month. And I have had the same number for my business, and it was a landline. And I kept it just because my phone number was everywhere. So over the last year, what I started doing was putting my cell phone number and changing that out. And, it takes a little bit of a time to do that. So it took me a whole year to make sure that everything was changed. I would find places, and then I'd go in and change them. Well, the other day, I got an email from a client that I worked with several years ago. And she said, I have been trying to call you. I don't know why you're not returning my call. I really need to talk to you. And when I called her, I said, well, what number are you dialing? And she told me she has my old number. How would she know that my number changed? I didn't send out an email to my database telling them that. So then I sent out an email saying, hey, I have a new number. Please make a note of it. And then that was taken care of. But it took somebody reaching out to me for me to identify that. So if something has changed, make sure you send out an email to your database saying, hey, I just got this award. Here's the link to my website. Hey, my phone number changed. Hey, my last name changed. Whatever that may be, make sure you update it in all the appropriate places, but to also send out an email to your database if it's justifiable. And then, of course, your branding. You're always looking at your branding. So if you have not had a new picture taken since January of 22, I'm going to say get out there and do that. Now, for those that are listening to this podcast in the future, it should be done every year. Okay, you should get your headshots every year. Get your headshots, new poses. What's good. If you're a horse person, then get your photographer to take you out and have pictures made with your horses. This is identifiable. So this would go on your website, your welcome package, your social media, etc. Because people identify. If they're a horse lover as well as you, they're going to identify with that, and there's a connection. So make sure you're very, it's not just a professional headshot. It's different poses with your hobbies, with your family, by yourself, etc. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. And you're always reviewing your branding, okay? Making sure that everything is stellar across all platforms, okay? Let's see, what else do we have? 3 tips. I'm going to give you 3 tips to audit yourself online. So again, we're going to go back to, you're going to go through your social media. I want you to look backwards and look at any posts that you have made over the years, maybe any photos, any comments that may be offensive or inappropriate. We all have our own beliefs. And so, and the way I look at this is it's your platform. If I come to your platform and you're talking about something I don't agree with, then I should just leave that platform. But a lot of people don't. They love to voice their opinion. So remove that negativity and remove that opportunity for them to attack you. Okay? So I would also say, update everything that you have with all your branding, your profile information. We kind of went over that. And be mindful of what you're going to post in the future. So when you're sitting down with that social media calendar, kind of think about, is that going to hurt someone's feelings? Is that going to call for somebody? You can't analyze every single person, but, one thing we've all been taught is you don't take politics to the platform. I've been known to do that, and I'm very passionate about my political beliefs, just like everybody else is. But I don't really talk about it because it could stir up a fight, and I just don't want it. I have my own opinion. Nobody's going to change it. I'm not going to change your opinion. So let's just not talk about it and move on. Or if you can debate it in a adult way, there's nothing wrong with that. Love to do a good debate. Love it, because I always learn from the other side why they think the way that they do, and it might help me reevaluate the way I think. Okay, so it's always a good thing to be debatable, but keep in mind millions of people are seeing you on social media. And then again, if you have a problem with your social media and you need some tips on what to do, I have an episode, I think it's episode 12, and it's your social media roadmap. So that, I believe, was published in January of 23. We'll put the link in the show notes for you. And again, my show notes are on my website, kimhughes.com. They will not be on any other platform. You'll see a summary, but the show notes are the detailed information that we're talking about today. The other thing that you can do is look at where you are in the media. So are you showing up on TV, podcast, webinars, conventions? Do you have awards, a volunteer, community boards? All of those things should be identifiable. And what I mean by that is they should be on your website. They should be in your welcome package. You should be talking about this on your social media. If you are that person, if you're an agent that has a podcast, you should promote it. If you are doing webinars for buyers and sellers or whatever, promote it. If you just went to a convention, when you go to NAR and you come back, you're going to post all those pictures you took. You're going to talk about everything you learned, and you're going to put it in your welcome package. It's awards and the volunteering and the community that you work with. That's really what people get excited about. So keep that in mind as you're working on all the other spring cleaning that we're talking about. Okay, so now we're going to talk about finances. We all avoid the F word, right? But this is so vital to your business. You have to know what your finances are. So again, I'm going to tell you, go back to episode 9, my 5 bookkeeping tips. That will help you really get focused on what you're doing with your bookkeeping and your finances. I'm not going to go into detail here, but you do need to understand what you need to look at. Are you a person that needs to look at it daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly? These are things that I'm going to tell you to look at. Get your credit card statements, get your bank statements every month. Sit down with a cup of coffee, look them over, see what's showing up on these accounts. What do you need to unsubscribe from? What do you need to cancel? Everything. One of the things that my husband kept telling me was, you have this $5 charge showing up on your Apple account. And I said, oh, it's a subscription that I took, and it was because of this person that I follow. She is very interesting. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to pay for that. $5 a month. Great stuff. And so the other day, I realized that I haven't looked at that subscription in over a month. I think it's been like 2 months, really. And I looked at my life now and thought, I don't have the time to put into that. And I don't want to put that. If I did have the time, I don't want it to be there. So I sent her a little note telling her, it wasn't anything she did. I really enjoy her channel. And I will be back, but just right now, I've got too many other things going on in my life, and I just need to focus on that. And she was very sweet, wrote me back and said, I totally understand. But here's what I want to point out is, if you're spending $5 a month and you're not using it, you're losing $100 a year. So think about that for a few minutes and look at your credit card statements, at the recurring charges, your subscriptions and everything, and really take an evaluation of, do I need that? If you haven't looked at it in 3 months, I'm going to say cancel it. Okay. One of the other things that we did was, of course, with your TV, you have all these streaming services. And, there was a show, I'm not even going to mention the channel or anything, but I wanted to watch a particular show. And I thought, you know what? They have a free trial. It was a 7-day trial. And I thought, I'm going to download the 7-day trial. I'm going to watch this and then I'll be done. It was a documentary. So it wasn't something that was going to be reoccurring. So I did that, and I told my husband, I said, you're going to see $6.99 come through. This is what it's for. Okay. And then I told him, if it doesn't cancel the next month, remind me. Well, he reminded me, and I kept forgetting, and he was telling me, you've got to cancel that. So I finally got in there. After 6 months of going back and forth, I finally canceled it. But again, look how much money I lost and how much in my brain it kept showing up and how much it kept showing up in my husband's brain and telling me, you got to cancel that. So there's a whole thing that can come full circle, but you got to be on top of it. Just be on top of it. And if this is not your area, then find a bookkeeper to help you and make sure that they help you be profitable. When you are spending all this money, whether it's $2 or $200 or $2,000, that's money out of your hard-earned paycheck. So make sure that you can justify the charge. Cancel it if you can't. You can always take it back if you change your mind. You need to make sure that you're profitable. You need to look for ways to free up your revenue. You need to know what your financial system is. If you don't have a financial system, then you need to sit down and create one. And then you need to know, how do I pay myself? How do you pay yourself? Then you need to set aside your quarterly payments to the IRS, because if you don't pay your taxes quarterly, they penalize you. So there's more money going out, more headache. It's just constant. It's not just money. It's what takes up your brain space as well. So again, every area that I'm talking about, your real estate business manager can help you with this, whoever that may be. Okay. So make sure that you have that conversation. Look at your bank statements, look at your credit card statements, evaluate where you're putting your money. Okay. Now we're going to talk about car maintenance. This is essential to real estate agents. Your car has to be running smoothly so that you don't have a breakdown. I mean, can you imagine having somebody in the car with you and you're showing them property and your transmission blew up because you didn't take care of it? So make sure that you have a checklist of what you need to do and when you need to do it. So it's like an oil change, the overall service of the car, the tires, check your brakes, change your windshield fluid, what about your windshield wipers? This is windshield wipers and I go round and round. So this is like a sore subject, but it's one that I spend a lot of money on because I can't stand the squeaking when they go back and forth. So I'm always having to change my windshield wipers. You have your car is your mobile office. So you need to make sure you go through all your supplies, make sure you're updating everything that's in there, take out the old, clean it up, make your car nice and pretty. Inside and out. It should be done all the time. There's a whole episode on that. If you want that one, it's episode 12, and I put it out there sometime in December of 22. But it's a great podcast on how to create a mobile office. And that, again, I'll put the links in my show notes. So I'm going to direct you, everything that I'm talking about as far as, things that you can be doing for your business. If I've already done a blog or a podcast on it, I'll put the links in my show notes. Okay. So now here's what we want to do that was a lot of information. So let's do some recapping here real quick. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to create a checklist of what you need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. And in those spaces, you're going to fill that in, and then you're going to know what you have to do. Then you're going to put it on your calendar. You're going to put it on your smartphone, however you want to be reminded to keep that up. And then you're going to look at your systems and your processes. You're going to review all the programs, your software, your workflow, your social media, your finances. And again, looking at those subscriptions that you're paying for. Everything that you pay for is on your credit card or on your bank statement. And side note, if you are not using your business card for your business and a bank account for your business, you need to do that. That's got to be a number one priority. You should separate personal from business, okay? Look at the credit cards that are available for businesses. You can get cash back, you can get points, you can get all that stuff. But don't use your personal business account and don't use your personal credit card for business. You don't want those intermingled. It's too much of a headache at the end of the year. And then you're going to look at how do you onboard your clients, whether they're buyer, seller, investor, what. And then you're going to look at your website. You're going to look at your branding. You're going to get yourself organized, and that is going to give you so much relief. It's going to free up so much headspace. I mean, I'm one of these that I have a lot of energy. I'm constantly looking at things how to help my clients. I can go for a walk and I literally have to leave my phone at home, because if I don't, I'm listening to a podcast on business. I'm, talking on the phone. I'm doing all the things, but focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's to be clearing out my head. And one of the things that I don't have to worry about is because I have people that help me with that. So I have a website manager. I have a CFO of my company. I have, people in my team that help me with my podcast. They help me with, all kinds of things. And then I have my team that helps me with my clients. So it's very organized. It has to be organized in order for you to have peace of mind. And when you do this, I guarantee you, if you will do this for 3 months and come back to me, in July, and let me know if you did what I said and you kept it up, how much did that really help you? Because that will make a huge difference in how your business is ran. People take you seriously, but the most important thing is that you take yourself seriously, because you can be that rock star real estate agent with your clients and people that see you on the outside, but it's like what's on the inside that you've got to get fixed, and that's your business operations. Okay, so like I said, check out the show notes. I've got all the links there. If you'd like to schedule a call with me, there is a link there that you can schedule. I do appreciate you listening to this podcast. We are thrilled with the results that we are getting and the feedback we're getting from it. So if there's any topic that you would like for us to talk about, please let me know, and we will see you next week. Bye.